Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by Cybervenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
Hello everyone, my name is Andy. I'm the Managing Consultant for Cybervenger. This is another deep dive into the 110 controls of the NIST 800-171. This standard helps people protect data that are doing business with the Department of Defense or other federal departments. We have videos on what it is and why it's special. Go check those out. Today's control, if we look down here, is 3.11.3. It's the last in the risk assessment control, and it just says remediate vulnerabilities in accordance with risk assessments. So we talked about the risk assessments and vulnerability assessments in the last two videos in this family of controls. So risk assessment, a quick review, is the bad thing that can happen. Maybe data gets disclosed to people it shouldn't, or maybe you're a victim of a denial of service attack and your computers go down. Your organization and your situation is unique. Maybe disclosure of data would be worse than your system's going down for a day. Maybe if you can't manufacture a product for a day, okay, big deal, we make it up the next day. But certainly information, CUI being leaked is a big deal. Maybe not. It depends on what the federal contract says. But the idea is that you look at those risks, those bad things that can happen, and you kind of address them by priority, which is the worst problem to happen. And that's where you put your time, attention, and quite frankly, money at. Ditto on vulnerability assessments. A vulnerability assessment will look at all the possible vulnerabilities and known weaknesses in your environment and determine which ones are worse. They all have a rating: critical, high, low, critical, high, medium, and low. And you want to resolve these problems critical first, then high, then medium, then low. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's exactly as it sounds. You should create a ticket in some kind of ticket tracking system for each vulnerability found. You should rank it by what its finding says, and you should demonstrate to any auditors and within your logs and your change management that you're throwing the proper effort and energy and attention on solving things. So if you got a critical issue, I said the same thing in the last video. If you got something that's critical, call the CEO if you got it. Wake him up. This needs to get done right away. Critical. It's like being actively exploited. It's a walk in the park for the bad guy to just walk through your front door. It's bad. Get on it now. High is still pretty darn important. You should take it seriously. It should be top of your list. But, you probably don't need to wake up the CEO. That kind of thing. And so on and so forth. Now, I also want to talk about remediation in, how do you remediate? How do you fix things? Sometimes when you address a vulnerability that the scanner found, you want to make sure the vulnerability actually exists. There are false positives. That's a real thing. It's a real problem. Maybe you fixed the vulnerability, but the version didn't increment an update or something like that. Vulnerabilities, a lot of different types of vulnerabilities, not just a missing patch. Sometimes the configuration setting isn't done right. Sometimes you did the configuration setting right, but for some reason there's an indicator left behind that's tripping off your vulnerability scan. And there's also vulnerabilities that maybe don't show up in your scan. Things that you can think about that you might think they're vulnerabilities. Again, I always say this: NIST is a floor of security. This is the minimum you should be doing, not a ceiling. When I take on NIST clients, some of the standard practices that we do is we have a script that continuously runs through our RMM tool that perpetually, regularly, daily shuts off RDP on every device it's on, changes the TLS settings so that it doesn't support insecure versions of TLS, disables hidden admin shares. Now, the disabling the TLS versions is a bad example because that is something that shows up in vulnerability scans. But hidden admin shares. So if you ever go to //server/C $, that $, that's a hidden admin share. I don't like those. Those gives an attacker a easy way to reach every file on the entire system, to touch the operating system files on a host over there. That you should never. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to have that system running unless you have a specific reason for that. If you want to access files in that system, create a share manually. I don't like hidden admin shares. I think it's a massive vulnerability. It shouldn't be there. Personal opinion, right? But that should be mixed in this as well. You can find your own personal opinions and add them into your vulnerabilities and into remediation. So this control, as it says on the surface, do something about the problems you find. And when you do something, it's important that you log them and track them in your change management, in your quality control, and you want to make sure that you run your vulnerability scans immediately after you're done with these vulnerabilities. You want to make sure that they actually go away. You want to make sure that what you think worked, because sometimes it doesn't. I've had this happen to me too. I've disabled TLS 1.1 and 1.0 on a system, and next vulnerability scan ran, and boom, it's back. Well, it wasn't back, it never left. I didn't actually fix it. In my case, a little more rubber meets the road sort of thing. You can tell the operating system that TLS 1.1 and older is not allowed, but sometimes there's an application running on top of it, like a web application. This particular customer I'm thinking of right now, they had an HVAC system that is remotely accessible by their staff. So if there's a snow and the building's closed, that the HVAC guys can still remote in and make sure that heat is working and get information and make sure there's no frozen pipes, that kind of thing. It's nice. I don't like it because it's dangling out there on the internet. I'd love to get them the VPN first, but software's supposed to be secure. One of my not quite cyber client compliance customers, so they have a little lower standard than NIST folks. But anyway, it's there, and that application embeds support for the older NIST versions, independent of whether IIS or the operating system is allowing it. So it still showed up flagged once again. That's why it's important to test again afterwards, and then again report your findings and remediate in order. That's really all there is about this control. It's kind of self-explanatory. Hopefully I gave you some good examples, and we will see you all in the next NIST control.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.